G'day, Geoff Lewis here from Seriously Series. Today what I'm going to show you is how you can start your car by using one of these, a bottle jack. How is that possible, I hear you say? Well, you know what to do. Stay tuned and you'll find out. Okay, well, obviously for many of you it's not an uncommon sight to see a Land Rover with its bonnet up. But all jokes aside, let's set the scenario for this situation. You've finished up camping for the weekend, all your friends and family have left, you've hopped in the car, you've gone to turn the key on and nothing's happening. The starter motor has a little bit of a go at trying to turn the motor over, but it hasn't got enough oomph to actually get the motor to fire. You've got no communications with the outside world. The ground, the terrain is flat, so roll starting it isn't really going to be viable because you're not going to be able to push the car up to a great enough speed to be able to drop it into gear and get the motor to kick over. You haven't got a crank handle because the car that you've got doesn't take a crank handle. Even if it did, that's the first thing that gets lost. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Well, the one good thing that you've got is you've obviously got a bottle jack or a jack, and you've got a car that's got a manual transmission. Interesting. So let's move to the back of the vehicle and I'll show you what I'm going on about. How can you get yourself out of trouble? It's really simple, really easy, and doesn't cost you a cent. Okay, so something I prepared earlier. What I've done is I've actually chocked 3 of the wheels. I've jacked up the back driver's side wheel and I've put the transmission into 4th, which is the highest gear, and I've taken the handbrake off. Now, why have I done that? Well, it's very, very simple. This vehicle has an open differential in the rear, so this means that the power will always go to the wheel with least resistance. So if you think about it, this is up in the air, the other one is on the ground. So which one's going to have less grip? I think this one here, hey? That's pretty much it. If you've got a vehicle with a LSD in it or a locking differential in the rear, you can do this too, but you're just going to need to find a log, or you're going to need to find a rock or something to sit the other axle on so both wheels can actually rotate. But basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to rotate the wheel clockwise, and by doing that I'm going to transmit the power from myself turning this wheel into the axle, into the diff. It's going to go up the prop shaft, into the transfer case, the gearbox, through the clutch plate, and then finally it's going to actually turn the motor over. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've gone to actually start the car and it's just got enough power to almost try and get the starter motor to work. Even if that's not the case and you've only just got enough to get your actual lights to come on your dashboard, you've still got probably about 6 volts in the battery. And for a petrol vehicle, that's what you need. A minimum of 6 volts to actually be able to create that spark. On a diesel vehicle, it's probably a little bit more difficult because you've obviously got to warm up those glow plugs, but principle still applies. Anyway, enough talking, a bit more action. Let's give this a go, eh? Another thing, make sure you got the ignition on, otherwise you'll do what I just did then. Anyway, rightio. Hey presto, there you have it. It's literally that simple. One important thing though is that make sure that your ignition timing is spot on. If your timing's out of whack a little bit, then you're going to have to expel a lot more energy trying to turn this wheel over. So I hope this video really goes to show it's not necessarily about having heaps of fancy kit, though that does make life a little bit easier, but it's about the knowledge, the initiative and the common sense that you possess that makes all the difference when you're heading out on your next big adventure. If you're really enjoying the content here at Seriously Series, then please support us via Patreon. If that's not your cup of tea, that's fine. You can support us via our website by clicking on the web link in the content section down below. And if you're new to the channel, then click on the subscribe button down below too, and click on that notification button also. And that way you won't miss out on one single video. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in our next video. Catch you later.